Hi, good afternoon, Miss Preeti. Thank you so much, first of all, for showing up today and giving us this slot in a busy schedule like weekday. Well, it's a pleasure for us to have you this afternoon. How are you doing?
Yes, good. The things are very challenging nowadays. It actually started from last year, and it was especially challenging for NGOs like us who are more on the field than in office. And so our movement was restricted, helping our beneficiaries was restricted. But in spite of that, we have been fortunate enough to directly reach our beneficiaries, help them in whatever way we can, like giving them grocery or even helping them with some money. And of course, trying to boost their moral and just go through the pandemic, because the beneficiaries are from slums, they are from the sex workers, they are children living with HIV. So we have a range of beneficiaries, and all those are already in challenging conditions.
Got it.
And facing something new is really very
Hmm.
difficult.
Wow, I know there's so much to talk, and as you sharing, there's so much that you've experienced as a team, as an organization. I'd love to listen and for us to hear that. But just for people to know that this is Preeti from Snehalaya. We're here. We're going to be looking at how Snehalaya happened in terms of an organization. Just wanted to understand a nutshell about how you guys started a couple of years. I know you guys have a massive experience as a social sector itself, but just take it through your journey. Give me a nutshell about the cause that you're working with, and how do you help? Yeah.
Yeah. So the journey started about more than 3 decades ago, when our founder, Dr. Girish Kulkarni, was walking through the some very forbidden streets of Ahmednagar. Forbidden because they were from the red light areas, and normally children of his age, about eighth or ninth standard, they are told that you have to avoid certain lanes, because you're not supposed to go there, and
Hmm.
the red light area is amongst that lane.
Right.
So, but Girish wanted to reach his classes before everyone else, and so by mistake or by, I don't know, fate, he took that turn, and there he saw girls of his age actually standing outside and selling themselves, and he
Hmm.
was shell shocked to see the plight of these girls, and the girls should be in school, and they are doing this. But then he was too small to think about it or do something about it. But the question and the picture lingered in his mind for years together. Later, when he went in college, coincidentally, he had a friend who also belonged to that red light area, and there he saw that his sister, his mother, and even his grandmother were selling their bodies for nothing like a cup of tea, also.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there he thought that something has to be done. He didn't know what was to be done, but there was something that he wanted to do. So he joined a number of organizations, tried to do something through those organizations, but then somehow his wavelength didn't fully match theirs. And then he said, okay, I should start from something very small. And
Mm-hmm.
then he frequently started visiting these sex workers in the red light areas. First, they shooed him off, then they said bad words to him, and they didn't take him seriously at all,
Right.
because a male coming to them for something other than sex was a very new concept to them. They didn't
Okay.
believe in him.
Hmm.
But he had a group of friends like him, and then they kept on persuading these sex workers. Then they asked, what do you want from us? And then the sex workers told them that our life is finished. We are
Hmm.
already caught in all this vicious cycle, and we can't come out of it. But these are our kids, and if you can, you help our kids.
Hmm.
And that's how he started the POW school. POW is something, a bread school.
Hmm.
That's what
Hmm.
he started. And then with the help of bread, he used to just lure this two kids. First, two kids came to him. Two kids to come there in a nearby school after the school was over, and he used to talk to them, tell them stories, play with them for about 4 to 5 hours.
Hmm.
And in 2 months, these
Wow.
two kids went to 80. So 2 to 80 was a journey in 2 months. And
Hmm.
then he realized that just playing with them for 4 hours is not the solution,
Right.
which he's looking at. There should be something more concrete. And then he started asking for people for a piece of land, a small piece of land where he could place these kids in a secure atmosphere, secure shelter.
Mm.
But no one came forward. Then one fine day, a lady came forward. She had a small barren land in the MIDC area of Ahmednagar city, and she said, "I can give you this land, but whatever you want to do, you have to do on your own." He said, "No worries, just give me the land as a gift, and I will do it further." And then he
Wow.
and his friends built a small dome-shaped structure with a mezzanine floor. Upstairs would be the boys, and that's how the crawling itself. It was around 1992 that HIV was crawling itself in HIV and AIDS started crawling itself in Ahmednagar and of course India.
Mm.
And the worst hit were the sex workers, of course, who as soon as they were detected to be HIV positive, they were thrown out of the brothels to die. Their plight was horrible and they didn't know where to go. At
Mm.
that time, Girish and his friends started the Death with Dignity program. It was a small makeshift clinic where one of the physicians, well-known physicians in Ahmednagar, she joined him. Her name was Dr. Marcia Warren. She still is attached with Snehalaya. And
Okay.
she and Girish and few of his friends, they started this Death with Dignity program, where the sex workers would be admitted, they would be given palliative treatment, and when they would
Wow.
die, they would be given a proper death ritual.
Mm. Dignity. Got it.
So that is how the sex workers gained a lot of confidence in Girish and
Mm.
his friends, and the children also started living in that same area in that shelter home. One thing led to another. Children became big. They wanted to go to school, but then again, they with all many doors of the schools got closed because they didn't want children with HIV
Right.
going
Right.
there. They didn't want children with sex workers going there. And then we started our own school, and now
Wow.
we have a school which is till 10th standard. And the first batch of our kids, they just passed their 10th standard with flying colors. So
Wow.
this is how the journey began. One thing led to another, and as the need-based projects came up, and now at present we have 23 different projects which are dedicated to education, health, awareness, and rehabilitation of the children and women in distress.
Wow.
So first we work with sex workers. Now we work with for all women who are
Women.
in difficult circumstances.
Mm,
Yeah.
wow. And I also see where you're coming from. The requirement is massive. And I must say, what an inspiring journey this is to really look at, how there were problems coming at your side and you were finding solutions. And now that become a routine of how you're making impact on different levels. And, it's such an inspiring story. I must say that, Miss Preeti. So I think, thank you for taking us through brief. And I just wanted to understand, uh, the second question is definitely about what triggered your organization to start, but you did mention what really triggered because, the founder was someone who was in the midst of, his friend happened to be this. And, I think sometime we go through life like this, that it just makes it real for us to why we want to go after a dream or thing that bother us to really have the
Yeah.
courage and pursue it, right? Amazing.
Yes.
So just want to ask, you did mention you have over a decade of experience here in this company, I mean organization, right?
Yeah.
What has been your top one or two learnings, surprises or takeaways from your journey?
Yeah, so when I first started with Snehalaya, I started in the community radio. We have a community radio, and I started as a producer there, and then I gradually went on to become the programming head of the community radio. Community radio is such that we are heard in about 20 to 25 kilometers radius, and we talk about issues for which our NGO works, and of course about the current issues which the city faces.
Mm.
I got to meet nearly 500 plus people in my journey from different walks of life. They were from the social sector, the medical sector, the literary sector. And there I found that these people are, legends. And in front of them, we are very minute, tiny
Mm,
people.
mm,
And they have struggled such a lot. Their journey has been so big. And we are mere mortals in front of them, and if you want to reach that heights, that is the struggle you have to face, that is the way you have to work.
mm,
So
mm,
that was the first take home thing. And the second thing is always be humble. Our
mm.
founder, Dr. Girish Kulkarni, he has been humble throughout his life. a,
Wow.
a donor who has been with him since last 30 years and just giving him about $100 per month, he has the same respect for that person, and he has the same respect for the person coming from a very big position in a company or a grant giving organization. So he
Wow.
says that, yeah, so he says that if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? That
So
is
true.
yeah, if that is the philosophy he follows, and he feels that everyone should follow, because
Mm-hmm.
there has to be someone who to start something, and once you start, people always join you if it is a very good cause. That's
Right.
what we believe. So
Wow.
these are the
That's
two
definitely
important things.
amazing, amazing. And I'm
Yeah,
sure over a decades of journey with, Snehalaya, there's so much that you've contributed, and I think it is definitely out of the passion and a willingness to wanting to be able to do it. I do see when you're sharing this, there's an involvement, there's love present, there's compassion, and I really respect that, Miss Preeti. Thank you for doing this, year on year, and for this many years. I have to
yeah,
say that.
and I also would like to add that the same love, because he believes that giving anything else than love is the important thing which we can give people.
So true.
And if you just put a warm hand on the head of a child, that is
Mm,
enough for that child to be assured that this person is going to look after me. That is
mm.
the only thing it is required. Spread
Right,
love, get love. That's it.
right. So true. I must say that. So here comes a very important question that you would have faced, you know, being spent so many years. What are some stereotypes or myths about the cause that you are working on, and what is the reality of, the work that you've been doing? So there might be a lot of myths or the stereotypes that you've been experiencing, or people throw at your organization or the work that you do. Just take us
Yeah.
through that, please.
See, initially when Dr. Giri started working, there were a lot of myths about HIV, because HIV was a fairly new disease. No one knew anything about it, and people were actually terrified to see a person actually who was suffering from HIV/AIDS. He had a very not a very good experience with the doctors also, because he
Mm,
approached a lot of doctors to join him in his cause. But Dr. Marcia was the only one, I think, who joined him at that time, and no one was ready to touch these patients. No one was ready to actually talk to them, work for
mm,
them. So that, and I would like to tell that now it has been 3 decades, more than 3 decades. Dr. Marcia is intact. She has not acquired this HIV AIDS any, and no, neither Dr. Girish has acquired. In
mm,
fact, initially these patients and these children were staying in Girish's house
mm,
for
mm.
some months,
Wow.
and then he found a shelter, and then he transferred them there. But his parents also welcomed these kids and these sex workers home. They actually bathed them, looked after them. If there were any wounds, they used to nurse these wounds. They used to give them food. They used to give them medicines. But none
Mm,
of them acquired AIDS or HIV. Now today, after so
mm,
many years, and HIV and AIDS has, it isn't well under control now. Now also there are myths about this disease.
mm,
Now also people don't want people sitting near them. I have seen people coming to see our organization and not having food or water there.
mm,
So so that myth still continues, and I don't know how many more decades or years it is going to take.
mm,
But
mm.
I can assure you that these kids are very innocent. They are like kids like you and
I'm
me.
sure.
Only the thing is they have got something called AIDS with them, and there is no, I mean, it was not their fault that they
Right,
have this disease, isn't
right.
it? They acquired it from their parents, but then they have to live with it.
Mm,
And most of our children who have been HIV positive and living with AIDS, they are doing excellent in their studies. They are doing excellent. Some of them, one of them is a is in the police force.
awesome.
Another one is a nurse. So it doesn't, that is not a hurdle in their lives,
Mm,
isn't it?
mm.
They can
Shouldn't
live a
be, right.
completely normal life. Then also we have a matrimony meet every year,
Mm,
where
mm.
HIV positive girls can marry HIV positive boys. And I'm very
Wow.
happy to tell that out of these couples, 18 of them have conceived, and they are having normal children.
Wow. This is amazing. Yeah.
The second thing was, initially, means when even before I joined Snehalaya, I had a big taboo about sex workers and how they live and how they talk and how they may be behaving.
Mm,
But
mm, mm.
they are women who are forced in sex trade. No one, I'm sure that no woman would like to sell herself voluntarily. That's what
Mm, mm.
I
Right.
feel. And when I talk to them, when I ask them, they everyone have their own plight, their own problems, and some of them have been sold by their husbands. So each one has a very bad past, and this bad
Mm.
past has led them to this type of work. So they are women,
Right.
they are victims of circumstances and nothing else. So
So
I
true.
think people should learn to have a better they should think better about these women also,
Mm,
not
mm.
that they are something for which sex they are available for sex freely and they are doing it in a very
Right.
happy way. No, it's not
Yeah.
that. Everyone
I
have
think
their
it
own bad past.
majority of the crowd is falling in the category of what you were saying. It's to the circumstances, and somebody's burden needs to be taken on them, and things like that are pushed
Yeah,
into it. I think because you're in this field, and I'm sure you have got so much of experience. What is the one challenge, or let's say, what is a challenge or a question that you would like to leave the next generation with?
yeah. See, it's not about only the next generation. Even our generation or my generation should
I
always
agree.
think about what we can do for another human being.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about your own family. It's not about your own house, your car, your things, your belongings. No, it's
Right.
not that. Just think of what we can do for one another human being. One
Mm-hmm.
another, if one person helps one another human being, the world will be a better place to be. That's
Very
what I
well
feel.
said. Yeah.
And every time every person should ask a question. Even it's not that you should go out and do it. Even your
Mm,
maid needs help. Even
right.
your neighbor needs help, and you should be available for that.
Mm,
That is,
amazing. Very well said, Miss Preeti. That's
yeah,
so true. I think at least from a ripple side of it, that what we are looking at is, I mean, like you said, it's every individual's responsibility is to really be available, care for one another, and support one another. And I think
yeah,
we want to be able to build a generation of people looking at these causes to be one of the causes that they can really work on as a career
yes.
choices, and that's the
And
that's
it's
the
not
different.
about money. It's not
Right.
only
It's
about
not
money.
about money.
It's not
Right.
only about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's beyond money, and money can be a constraint for them to be stopped about doing all of this. Oh, I'd like to work in a big corporate company instead of working on a social sector because I want to
Mm.
be able to financially be stable. We want to be able to challenge, that kind of a generation, that crowd, to say, what, social impact work can be a sustainable choice too, and that's
Correct.
the goal that we are going after. And my last
Yes.
question to you is, how can the public help you, like with regards to your cause, your specific with Snehalaya, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. So Snehalaya has, just as I mentioned, 23 different projects. We basically work with children and women. So you can sponsor a child for her or his education. You can sponsor for their medical treatment,
Mm-hmm.
or you can also similarly you can sponsor a woman, a girl for her higher education. Then her stay in our shelter home. Then, of course, you can give us in-kind donations, which can be in the form of textbooks, notebooks. We also have a book bank, a notebook bank, and a textbook bank,
Mm.
which can help our children. And not only our children, we also work with 7 slums in our city. So we can
Wow.
provide this educational stationery material to them also. There is
Mm.
a special after-school program which we run in all these 7 slums, and we work with around 2,000 children in the slums. Apart from this, totally annually, we work with around 20,000 beneficiaries per year.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also provide food grains, groceries for these kids, for these women who are staying in our shelter homes. So we are welcome to in-kind donations as well as donations in the form of funds.
Got it.
And
Got it.
we have CSR partners, we have individual donors, but still Snehalaya depends almost 55% on individual donors.
Donors.
So we
Okay.
have
Got it.
individual donors from small to
Mm-hmm.
big individual donors, but we are proud to say that Snehalaya is still associated with 55% of individual donors.
Wow.
And these people are more important because they want to know how Snehalaya is doing, how a particular child is progressing, how
Hmm.
a woman has been helped. So
Hmm.
they have a mental connect with us, and I like that.
Fun.
So that is great.
Hmm.
No doubt that CSRs are important,
Right.
corporates are important, organizations, big organizations who give grants are important, but the individual connect still matters, and
So true.
we are open to them. At the moment, we are not open for visitors, but if anyone wants to come and see what Snehalaya does, how Snehalaya does, then after the COVID pandemic, they are welcome to see us, meet us, know more about us. And of course, our website is available, so they can visit our website also. Our
Mhm.
website is www.snehalaya.org. So you can go and, of course, see
Great.
that. We also are available on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram also.
Awesome. I think that's in terms of social media for people to know you. I think it's already well out there, and in terms of your, what how people can help you is definitely put it in a very, very well and easier manner for people to understand this. And I must say, your answer has led me thinking so many things, and there's so much that I'm already thinking about how we as an organization, work with Snehalaya and help for Snehalaya, so I am very, very inspired by the work, Ms. Preeti. I must say that. And thank you so much for this time of yours and, talking to us, taking us through your journey. It was definitely a great conversation, I must say, and a lot of, pursued passion, I would say, Thank you so much for leading so compassionately for these many years. And I would say, these are something that we can leave for our generation to look up to. So thanks for doing this, day in and out. It was a great having conversation with you. Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
and
this
thank
evening,
you,
Rita.
Ripple Foundation. Yeah, thank you, Ripple Foundation, for having me. And on behalf of our Snehalaya family, our 314 employee staff, and around 20,000 beneficiaries we work with, thank you so much for having us. Thank
Thank you.
you.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.